Just like on Earth, humans are creating a lot of waste in space, and it's becoming a big problem.
Jupiter C rocket is ready for America's second attempt to launch a space satellite.
3, 2, 1.
Since the 1950s, we've been launching rockets and satellites, and many of them are still up there. Right now, over 16,800 satellites are orbiting Earth. Many are old and no longer work, turning into what's called space debris. But it's not just the whole satellites. There are over 35,000 pieces of debris from broken up spacecraft. These fragments, travelling at speeds of up to 17,500 miles an hour, are a real danger to the satellites we rely on for everyday things like the signal for our phones, and they're even a danger to the astronauts on the International Space Station. Well, I'm here at a company called Astroscale in Harwell, Oxford, where a potential solution to the problem is being built. The solution? A satellite designed to clean up space debris. But to get a closer look, I've got to suit up. I'm going to step inside the clean room. Now, what exactly is a clean room, might you ask? It's a specially controlled environment where all pollutants like dust and airborne microbes are kept to an absolute minimum. This is because even the tiniest particle can cause problems when creating something as delicate and precise as a satellite. So this is it, this is the one. And it's in this clean room where they're building individual parts of the satellite. Meki, one of the scientists on the project, has allowed me to get a closer look at some of these parts. So this is actually could be part of what we're talking about, of a satellite. I imagine it to be quite heavy, but it's super light.
Yeah, so ultimately, the lighter a satellite is, the better, because then it requires less fuel to actually get it up into orbit.
I'm very interested in the case here. What is in this case?
So, in this case, we have one of the docking plates, and what this would do is we would want this to be attached on to all satellites that launch in the future.
If other satellites are fitted with the special docking plate, it will allow the ELSA-M spacecraft to easily attach and collect the satellites when they no longer work. It will then bring them down to the Earth's atmosphere, where they'll be safely burnt up. But what about all the other satellites and bits of debris that are already up there?
So, as you know, there's thousands of pieces of debris that don't have this kind of a docking plate on. We are developing an alternative satellite wherein there's a robotic arm attached to the satellite. So then it can go up into orbit and then safely grapple onto it with the robotic arm and remove it in a similar way.
So how critical is it that we act now and we make sure these satellites are getting up into space?
So critical. So the number of objects that are being launched into orbit is growing rapidly. Last year there were 3,000 satellites launched into orbit, and before the end of the decade there's expected to be a further 60,000. So if we keep going like this, orbital environment may become unusable. There's this scary theory called the Kessler syndrome, which says that when the orbital environment is so populated, one collision with a piece of debris would then create fragments of debris, which could then cause a further collision, and this happens in a snowball type effect. So we need to act now so we don't get to that type of a situation.
There's still quite a bit of work to do on the satellite, but they plan to launch and begin removing space debris as soon as 2027, with more and more new satellites being fitted with the special docking plate.